minds, I think, took us in as a young lads, and we never had a chance to open up and show our talent. And here today now, I am sitting in the gallery of Kevin Sinnott, an international artist. Howard Davis, he was a neighbour of mine going back in the 60s, and I know he worked in the ocean. Originally he came from my state, and I cannot tell you any more other than he liked my drawing later on in life, and the portrait you can look at is the one he sent me to draw. And at the moment he's living in Porthcawl, and I'm proud to have drawn it, and that's about all I can tell you. Portrait of Mike Goff came late in life. When I started drawing, I met Mike down the Brachy-Cummer Hotel, and I took a photo of himself to see if I could draw him. And Mike worked in the ocean. He worked with the horses. I think we call them the hauliers, or hauliers, H-A-U, haulier. And that's about all I can say of him, other than if I went back further, when I used to go around the valley selling a bit of stuff and collecting the coupons, I met his wife, and I used to sell her some training socks for the children. And now they came to my house, they got family of their own, and they thought the portrait I did of Mike Goff, they had to have a print of it because they thought the world of it, and it tears Mike right to the T. He was a well-liked man. He knew his horses, and that's about it. The portrait coming up now is Joe Rose. The family lived in where I am living now, in Garrovacan, the end house, and large family. I'm not sure if there was perhaps 8 in one house at the time when he was young, but I'm not sure if Joe was a miner to have a portrait done with a miner's hat on. He was part of the valley then, and the community. This portrait is of George Davis, Llangaina. His daughter is Marlene Thomas, the councillor. And George asked me if I could draw, I think it was about 5 of them, back some time ago. And again, he was proud to be a miner, although I think he was, most of his time, he was an official. And I think it's a very good portrait, a very strong feature of him. And it tells me that in his youngest day, George was a very strong person. And I always met George on a Thursday when I used to collect his coupons. And that's about all I can tell you. He did work in the ocean. He was an official in the ocean. The next portrait is of a person called Dill Llewellyn that lived in my village in Pontrill. We worked together in the falda. Remember rightly, Dill was on what they would call the cogs. I would be on the turnover gang, and we used to have a little laugh, talk about old times, and Dill had long ladders, and not many of them was about, wooden ladders. And when I used to go and do what we'd call little jobs around the houses, and if it was on the roof or even your own house, we would borrow the ladders off Dill Llewellyn. But Dill's sister was there, I think her name was Winnie, I'm not sure now. And if we borrowed them on a Sunday, she didn't like it because she believed that you wouldn't work on a Sunday. But we would laugh it off, and we had to make sure that the ladders weren't put tidy as we received them and so on. But yeah, Dill was a bachelor, a very nice person. Everyone in the village liked him. And I had the pleasure of working with him for quite a few years in the Falda. And I was part of a gang. Sid Smith, my brother-in-law, Glyn Tutt, another one. I was with him in the gang, a group of us then, to explain the word gang. And there used to be, let me think, a Don Smith. Don Smith was part of the gang. Edgar Lewis was another gentleman, part of our gang. And we worked together for some time. And we all got on okay. I wasn't a big gentleman, but a big person, I mean, but they kind of looked after me. Although when you had to do your job turning over, you knew you was working. And the other person I worked with, he was on what they call the pipes. His job would be to drop the pipes and put them back. Was Cliff Sweatman. I don't know where he is today now, but we used to have our laughs with him. And amongst it all, although the work was very hard, you kind of found the energy to have a smile and have a laugh about something like. They always tried to see if they could get you to chew tobacco. Chew it wasn't too bad, but if you swallowed it, you would turn colours of yellow and green, and you wanted to vomit. But if you had an accident, like you would jam your fingers and that in it, and all of a sudden you'd have one sharp coming up saying, boys, let me do something for you. And he'd hold your hand out and he would spit the juice of tobacco all over your hand and rub that in, he'd go, and that will make you better. And you was falling for it because you was innocent. But I also worked once with a chap called Will Hillman. And there was two size shovels on the ground. I think it was a size 4 was a large one, and the higher the number was a bit smaller. So when I went to Will, he said, there's your shovel, but there, Gordon. Well, when I looked at it, it was a big shovel. And when I shoved it into the coal to start shoveling on the belt, I found it hard to lift it up. It was holding up so much coal. Don't worry about that, Gordon, he said. You won't have to fill it up so often as the other one. And that was my experience with Will Hillman, and I believe a lot of miners knew about that shovel, but he wasn't using it himself, like.